Hello there, my name is Pauline Cordiner and I am a storyteller based in Aberdeen in Scotland. I've got another story for you today. Now this is for the Tag Team Tales page, which you can follow on Facebook. You can also follow me, Pauline Cordiner, Scottish Storyteller. And I think today I'm going to be doing a story that's nae for the bairnies. It's a story that, once again, like the first story that I told live yesterday for World Storytelling Day, folks said to me, "Oh, you got to ken this story." So obviously I had to go and look it up. And I first heard it as a recording by Matt McGinn, but I've heard many other storytellers tell it since. It's just one of my favourites. Well, a while back in the 60s in Aberdeen, there was this lassie and her husband, and they were having a baby. Now, she got away off into the maternity home, Fonthill Road in Aberdeen, and the baby was born. And as always happens, the baby was cleaned up a wee bitty, wrapped up in one of those peach-coloured blankets, and it was put into her arms. And oh my goodness, I ken all mothers think that their bairnies are beautiful, but this one, oh, he had the beautiful eyes of the father, he had her mother's rosy cheeks, the big lugs of her father, and she just looked at him. But this is what happened to me when my daughter was born. She was handed to me, and I said, "What is it?" Meaning, is it a boy or is it a girl? Do you know what her father said? "Baby." And this is what happened when the baby was born. The nurses were, oh, the baby's so beautiful, the baby's so beautiful. That she stuck the baby in her arms, and she didn't know if it was a boy or a girl. So she decided she was going to have a wee peek. And yes, it was a boy. Oh, she was very excited. She said, I was hoped that she would have a wee boy that she could name after her father. But that wasn't the only thing that she found out. You see, this baby was slightly different. And she said, nurse, I know this is a bit funny, but I've got a question for you. And the nurse said, "What is it, my dear?" And she bared the baby's stomach and she said, have you ever seen anything like that before?" And the nurse peered in at the baby's stomach and she said, "No, I haven't. I would never notice that. That's awful queer." Doctor, said the nurse, and over came this doctor. And the doctor keeked in and she said, "Oh, well, that's something awful unusual. You see, ladies and gentlemen, where this baby's belly button was, when the umbilical cord had been cut off, it come sheer away. And right in there, in the baby's belly button, was a wee silver screw." Now, immediately the doctor was off, calling all the other maternity doctors and nurses, all the midwives. Had anybody ever seen anything like this before? No. Off as soon after, they were on the phone to Dundee, to Perth, to Glasgow, to Inverness, and to Edinburgh, and nae had anybody ever seen anything as queer as a wee silver screw in the baby's belly button afore. Well, they ran all sorts of tests. The baby was as fit as a fiddle. And they said, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Just bring the bairn up to be full of confidence. You'll never ask. It'll be absolutely fine. And so the wifey took the bairnie home and Abdi was happy. Now, as the bairn grew up, she did everything that she could to make him love himself. And ladies and gentlemen, we should all love ourselves, even though some of us might be a little bit weird, And this wee boy, he was at nursery school and he would show everybody his belly button just the way that wee boys show everything to everyone at that age. And soon enough everyone forgot about it. It was just him, But when he got a wee bit older, he was about 7, 8, 9, and they were going to gym and they had to change into their gym kit. His mum used to put just a wee sticking plaster, wee bit of plaster over his belly button so nobody would ask any questions. And it was the same whenever he did swimming lessons at secondary school. And although he'd been brought up to love who he was, there was just that wee niggling bit of doubt. And by the time he was a teenager, and all teenagers are full of hormones and doubts, and, well, this silver screw in his belly button, it began to be an issue. But he got through his teenage years, and afore long, a day, when he was 19 years old, he went down to Cadona's, down to the fun fair down at the beach in Aberdeen. And he was on the waltzers with his pal, and he was puking up, and across the waltzers, his eyes met the eyes of this lassie. And she was puking up an ass. So they basically got a lot of the difficult stuff out the way right at the start. And as soon as they'd both got up and kind of brought themselves together, they had a wee chat and swapped phone numbers. And soon they were dating. And things went off well. And he kent that this was the lassie that he wanted to spend the whole of his life with. Now, he had a wee one-to-one with his dad. His dad sat him down and said, right, when the moment comes, you know, this is Bert, and he's like, okay, now about the birds and bees, Dad. Dinna worry about that. It's nae that I'm worried about. His dad said, well, what are you worried about? He said, the screw. Oh, Cologne, I didn't think you were caring about that. And he said, well, you know, I tell you, what's it there for, Dad? Dad said it doesn't matter, and Mum was called in and they gave him a bosey and everything was fine. Time passed and they decided, this being the swinging 60s, that they were going to hae a dirty weekend awa in Stonehaven. Aye. And the hotel room was booked. I want to name the guest house. And he was to meet her outside the Monkey House, which, for those of you that aren't from Aberdeen, it's where all the young loons used to hang out in the 60s with their long sort of Beatles haircuts, and all the old wifeys and mannies used to say they looked like monkeys, so it's still called the Monkey House today. It's where the men used to meet, and the lassies would be across the road, and that was just, you know, that was their meeting place. And he saw her there, and they were going to go down to Guild Street, and they were going to go to the bus station, they were going to get the bus to Stonehaven, and he just thought, I can't do this, I'm not ready for this. And he went up a bit and he sat down on the steps of one of the banks and he put his head in his hands and he cried. And after about 30 seconds or so, he realised that there was somebody sitting next to him. And he turned round, and right enough there was, and this was a wifey with a shawl and beautiful black curly hair, big gold earrings, and she was looking at him with the most motherly concern, and she said, I ken what your problem is, boy. And he said, how do you know? And she said, I ken about the silver screw. How do you ken about that? He said. She said, I'm one of the spae wives of Aberdeenshire. I'm one of the travelling folk. I've got the second sight, ken? He said, all right, okay. And she said, do you love yourself? And he said, aye, I div, aye. But you want to ken what it's a' about, don't you? And he said, yeah. Laddie, you dinna need to ken. You go and meet that girl, and you'll live happily ever after. And he said, do you ken what it's for? And she said, aye. Could I get rid of it? Aye. I'm telling you, you've got a choice. She's looking at her watch, she's away to leave. And he looked at his girlfriend across the road and he looked at the wifey and he said, no. I want to sort this out first. Well, the old wifey said, you make your choice, laddie. He said, what can I do about it? And she said, well, there's going to be a full moon in 4 nights' time. What you need to do is you need to go to a place where you can be utterly alone and where you can lie basking in the rays of the full moon. All right, he said, okay. Go to an isolated place, some woods or something, and take off all your clothes and just lie there and you'll find out what the silver screw's for. Right, he said. Can I get rid of it? Maybe's aye, she said. Maybe's no. But think about it, laddie. Happily ever after. Or the alternative. But his girlfriend had gone. She'd given up. It was half an hour. He was half an hour late. That night he explained to her on the phone, he'd made up some story and he said, I'll see you in 5 days' time. And it was the night of the full moon. And he took the bus out to Hazelhead and he walked to Countess Wellswood. Now that's not something I would recommend in the middle of the night in Aberdeen these days. Some funny things go on, you know. But he walked to where there was a clearing and I looked around, and although it was this time of year, it was March, it was pretty cold, he took off all his clothes and he lay there in the moonlight. Well, he was hoping it was going to be moonlight. But of course, this is Aberdeen! So there was clouds casting a great big shadow over him. Right, covering over the moon. But he lay there, stark naked, and eventually the clouds started to part. And as the clouds parted, there was this beautiful, glittering, silvery moonbeam that shone down, 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 right onto his belly button. And the wee silver screw glittered beautifully. And as luck would have it, down the beautiful moonbeam came dancing in the moonlight. A wee golden screwdriver. And as luck would have it, it too was Philip's head. And he saw it dance all the way down. And it connected with a wee silver screw in his belly button. And it turned once. Oh, hang on, that's the wrong way. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Once, twice, 3 times. And then the golden screwdriver went dancing back up the moonbeam, followed by the wee silver screw. And it was gone. And he looked down. I'm normal, he said. I'm normal. And look at me, I'm fine. I thought I was going to find out what it was for. Oh well. And he thought, it's time I went home. And he stood up to put his clothes on. And that was when his bum fell off. Hope you enjoyed that story. Follow us on Tag Team Tales and follow me on Pauline Cordiner, a Scottish storyteller, and I'll have another story for yous pretty soon. Cheerio!